Hey AfterBuzzers, welcome to our Pretty Little Liars after show. Tonight we're talking Original Gangsters, which is season 7, episode 7, and we'll be doing our relationship report card and talking about Jason's return. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Can you keep it? Swear this one you'll save. Love this song, guys.
So good.
Belt it out. Up in his bed.
Normally we have a dance party to this song, but I felt like we have a pretty much new panel tonight.
Yeah.
I know Becca's joined us before, but we are so excited that you're all joining us again. I'm Stephanie Wenger, and joining me today...
Hi guys, my name is Dakota T. Jones. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Mr. Dakota T. Jones.
Thank you so much for joining the panel. We're so excited to have you.
I'm so excited. I love the show so much.
Yeah. I'm Becca Brown. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV.
3 super fans here talking about this amazing episode of Pretty Little Liars. We were all saying that I feel like the show is really gearing up to this summer finale here.
Yes.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely. I think that we had a little bit of a spot where we were kind of like wondering what was going to happen, and it feels like this episode and then the next one, it feels like everything's kind of falling into place. We're finding out more about what's going on, and I just cannot wait to see what Noel has, you know, up his sleeve. Like, he's definitely involved now, and he's definitely not making it a secret anymore, and I'm excited to see where his character goes.
I agree, and I like that we're getting the throwbacks from season 1, because he was a suspect, I feel like, way back in the beginning of Pretty Little Liars, and to have it come full circle is so exciting for especially long-term fans.
Yes.
Definitely. One of the last scenes had a parallel to season 1, and I was not gonna lie, kind of freaking out
Yes.
about it.
We'll get into the I see you. I feel like that was a big moment and something that I was freaking out about because, as you guys know, we love Arya and Ezra, and that's a throwback to something that happened early in their relationship. But let's talk about, I think, the most teased part of this episode, which is Jason's return.
Yes. And that facial hair.
Yeah, the facial hair. He had like the long hair.
I know, he grew up.
He did. I feel like he's gotten taller.
Yeah.
Buff.
It's crazy. Like, I've always loved his character, and he was always so involved, you know, in the previous seasons, and then he just kind of fell off the face of the planet, it seemed like, for a long time. And I'm so glad that he's back. I had a feeling that he was going to be because, like, I think like it was last year or this year, Becca and I went to this little screening thing, and him and Keegan were there together kind of promoting the show. And so I kind of felt like, okay, he must be coming back soon. And I'm so glad that he is, because he's been one of my favorite characters for a long time.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited that he's back. I think he adds a lot to the storyline.
Yes.
And I'm glad that he doesn't fully trust Mary Drake as of now, because Allie's so quick to trust her, and she's just too creepy.
Allie's so quick to trust anyone these days.
That's what I was going to say. I was like, we had the fake husband. Like, Allie just is really trustworthy. And I like that in a human being outside of Rosewood. Like, in life, I enjoy that in a human being. But in Rosewood, I just want these characters. I think we were watching together earlier, and I was saying, like, can't these girls just, like, be a little weary of things?
Yeah.
Like, getting a free drink, even. I was like, wait, I know, like, we're all excited about free drinks, but this is...
It's Rosewood.
Yeah, like, look at the handwriting. Does it match? Like, I was trying to figure out, I don't know if anyone else out there was thinking this, but, like, what did it match the other handwriting? Was it from AD? Like,
Not only that, but Noel was literally there at the bar, kind of raising a drink to Emily, like, hey, I see you.
Yeah.
And, no pun intended, I see you. But then we see, you know, the drinks on the table, and of course they're like, oh, free alcohol. Woo! But, like, can we be a little cautious, because we could be poisoned, you know, they could have poisoned Pam, and she could have...
Well, that's actually what I thought was going to happen, was Emily wasn't going to drink it, and then Pam was, and she was going to...
be poisoned.
Yeah, and, like, her mom, like, she was going to find her mom passed out somewhere, and, like, in the hotel, and, like, have to deal with this, and I don't think they would have taken it as far as to kill Pam, but, like...
I would die.
I love also the kind of the return of the mothers tonight. I feel like we did not have any parenting in the show for so long. And I know they're older with the 5-year gap, but it was nice to get some parents back.
Do you know who I miss so much is Laura Layton, who plays Hannah's mom.
Yeah.
I love her so much. I miss her. I know she was in a few episodes, I think, in the very beginning of the season.
Very beginning,
And I know that we're actually going to be getting some of Spencer's dad coming back here in a few episodes because...
I love Nolan North.
Yeah, I saw on Troy and Snapchat that he was there on set, so I'm excited to see him too.
Yeah, I think it's really nice to get kind of that multi-generational perspective, and we've thought about on the show before, could this AD or this Uber A have a multi-generational component to it? And I'm still I still think there might be an older generation. I don't necessarily think Mary could be involved, but I think there's maybe one of their parents.
That would be so insane. I feel like it could be really cool if it was, Spencer's dad. Nolan is such an incredible actor. I feel like he definitely has a lot of involvement with that family with the De Laurentises because of everything with just they're so intertwined, and it's like I definitely could see that. I could definitely see him being involved somehow. Jessica is obviously a little bit creepy with all the files and stuff that she's kept. Like I feel like she was involved somehow. I feel like everyone's involved and I can't trust anyone anymore.
Well, that's I feel like at this point, that's what they want us to be. Everyone's a suspect, and we're in season 7 of this show, and they've done a time jump. They're really opened every door for us, and I like that it's coming back full circle in that we are getting those early teases, and it matters that you've seen this show since season 1 finally again, because for a long time I would tell friends of mine, they're like, oh, I haven't watched it in so long, and I'm like, no, you can watch, you can easily pick it up.
Whole different show.
Yeah,
it's the same.
And now it's coming back, which I really appreciate, because I think that getting those long-term fans back on board is exciting at this point.
Yeah, it's the same show. I feel like I'm watching the same show that I started watching back when it first premiered in 2010. Which
makes me so excited because literally those episodes were the ones that had me on the edge of my seat. They had me, clicking next on Netflix to get to the next one. I am so happy that it's starting to be like that again because it just makes it exciting as a fan to watch and to just want to engage even more.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And we're also getting these returns of these characters, which I think is a big help in that because for a long time we were getting introductions of new characters, which is cool and interesting, but to get these people that we've kind of wondered, as you were saying, what happened to Jason? And now we're getting those answers.
And Noel.
Oh, yeah.
And Jenna.
So happy that Jenna's back. I loved her. Loved her since the beginning.
That's a great point to talk about Jenna here and say, I don't really know. I know Spencer kind of was wondering, why is she back? Did you have any thoughts on that?
I think just from the flashback that we saw with Toby and her, I think that he said that she's back for forgiveness because they were on a little trip. They convinced Toby to go, and Toby was trying to rekindle his relationship, make it normal again, and then she kind of went in for the kiss because she was feeling his face and got all attached again, and he was not about that. So I feel like he left. He said that he had not seen her in a long time, and she's back. So that's why he thinks that she's there. We definitely know that she is there for more reasons than that.
I mean, I definitely trust that she's not the one behind everything. Last week, I was kind of thinking, okay, maybe there's still a chance that she is mixed up in this whole AD thing, but I think she's actually truly scared for her life right now and
you think?
Maybe being blackmailed by someone.
I don't think she's the leader of this scenario, but I think she is involved or knows more than she's saying at this point. I don't know how active she is in it, but she definitely has knowledge of the whole situation that's going down.
Yeah, no, I think she knows what's happening, but is scared to say what's happening and tell anyone what's happening because of what happened to Sarah.
Yeah.
If she speaks or warns someone of what's about to happen or what is happening, who's behind everything, she'll get killed.
Yeah, I just died whenever Caleb was massaging her.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that was so awkward. And the fact that she didn't hear him rustling around in her purse and, like, opening the door in Hannah's voice and, like, handing the key off.
It was such a creepy scene.
Yeah.
Like, it felt really, like, inappropriate, over the line. I wanted it to stop. Like, I understand that they're investigating and they need the information, but I was like, it just feels like you're taking advantage of her in a way that I was not okay with.
Horrible way.
Yeah.
Good for, I mean, way to try to get information. Like, I applaud that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you're trying to get information, but...
That doesn't mean having to put oil all over your hands and rub it all over her back. That's a little weird.
It's a little, again, over the line. If I had to, I was not a fan of that moment. And then Hannah was like, well, you could have just turned on the lights. And I was like,
that's rude.
Yeah, I was like, she's trying to have a relaxing experience. Let her have the full experience.
You know, I honestly I was wondering if you guys noticed this. I was going to ask you. I feel like Jenna is not blind anymore. I really don't think she is, because there's a moment where she's crying whenever the police are investigating Sarah Harvey's death in the hotel, and she has her glasses off. She kind of turns around, and it almost looks like her and Arya make this awkward eye contact, and she kind of does this, and then she puts the glasses back on. Like, I was like, is she not blind? Like, is she literally, can she see again?
Well, she's went from blind to being able to see to like she's gone back and forth over the course of the show. And we definitely have talked about that is if she's blind or not. And tonight I agreed with you. I thought she was at least sensing them in some capacity, and I felt like there was this weird eye contact thing happening, and I don't know if it was by accident or like a weird cut, or if it was intentional in that.
Yeah. I just came up with the biggest prediction right now. Do we have like a prediction segment at the end?
We do, but we go for it anyways. Yeah.
I'm gonna go for it. I literally just thought of this on the spot. I feel like Jenna is not blind anymore, and she is the one who wrote "I see you" on the back of the car because she sees again. And her and Noel may be like in on it, and she might be writing "I see you." And then it's like
I like that.
That would be so cool.
Such a good double meaning.
Because she could be like, I literally see you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, no, it's revealing something about herself and also revealing what she kind of knows all in this 3-word statement. Yeah. Which is kind of crazy.
Yes.
That would be insane, and I would love it if they went with that.
I would love that too.
Interesting.
For sure.
Which brings me to, how does Noel fit into all of that? I mean, we think he's the big bad. I mean, I hate using this term, but the big bad at this point. Like, that's what they're painting him to be, which makes me honestly think he's not the big bad, because Pretty Little Liars never points the finger at the right person.
Yeah.
Well, jumping to like one of the last scenes when they go through Mary Drake's files, I at least feel like even if he's not AD, he could be the second child.
Ooh, that's an interesting thought.
That is interesting. And they dyed, Mary Drake's hair darker, so I mean, I could see that.
Yeah.
And they could kind of go with that. I feel like Noel is probably like the decoy, like one of those fake plastic turkeys that sits out in the middle of the field. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I feel like that's what he is, because if we think about it, he's the one who's been seen. He's acting suspicious. He's raising his glass to Emily. He's winking at her. He's back in town. We see the preview for the next episode, and he like pulls up in the car and like maybe or may not have hit Caleb. Like, it just seems too blatantly obvious that he's involved somehow. And I feel like maybe he is involved, and maybe he's scared of how involved he is.
Yeah.
That's maybe why he's been burning his file, because he found out that Jessica knew some stuff about him. I don't know. I mean, I feel like he may be in it, but may be wanting out after that scene we saw with him on the phone.
Somebody I was looking at Twitter on the East Coast feed, and they were saying that they felt like he might be like how there's like a manager of a store and then there's the greeter at the store. He's like the greeter.
Oh
like he's like the outward face of this whole situation. But like there's somebody who's the manager who's really controlling it all. And I actually don't think it's Jenna, and I don't think it's him. But it was interesting to see that he was like in that hotel and very involved, but I like the idea of him possibly being the second child.
That I'd never thought about before. That would be really cool.
I mean, I just thought of that while watching this episode.
Yeah.
Of course, there's another child.
Yeah.
I mean,
why would there not be?
Why wouldn't there be? I mean, that leads us into having an amazing season 7B, though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Because that's a whole nother mystery. That's basically Charlotte Part 2.
Yep.
I mean, that's really what you're signing up for with that.
Pretty much.
Which I don't mind. I liked Charlotte.
I did too. I think that's an interesting storyline, and it brings you to what you're kind of aiming for with this show, which is solving this big mystery. And I hope these girls, I know we've talked about it before on the show as well, but I want them to all find happiness.
At some point, yeah.
I know not right now, like that's not Pretty Little Liars world, but by the end of this thing, like I really do. I want them to not be so tormented.
Yeah.
I want Spencer's speech from the beginning of the episode, without the creepy AD notes.
Yeah,
being passed.
Absolutely. But do you think Noel? Who do you think is over them? Do you have any idea of who could be the big bad one, the Uber A, if you will?
We talked about it a little bit earlier, and I think we were on the same page as if we think it is probably Rin.
Yeah.
I know that the girls have said they're excited to work with him again, like he might be coming back, and I feel like the only reason he would be back is to be the AD. I feel like he could be.
And to add on to that, when we were talking about it, I was thinking Ren, and then if you had Melissa being, because she knows all the inside, because she's Spencer's sister, blah, blah, so she could be working kind of side by side with him.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Mona.
Oh, yeah.
Because her fake Radley ID, I don't know if anyone's seen the picture recently, actually the initials are AD.
That's interesting.
That's interesting
It's
too.
ID on the fake Radley ID.
Yeah.
So many suspects, and you can tweet at us. Let us know what you're thinking with all these suspects. Use Snap, Instagram, and you can use the hashtag ABTVPLL. And once again, that's ABTVPLL. We always check it. We love hearing from you guys. So definitely use that if you have any suspects in mind. Let's talk about this, Jessica's Fortress. We alluded to it earlier with the addition of the second child here. Such a creepy place. Another one of these things.
I know, and someone, I think it was Hannah who said, I think this smells like grandma's or whatever. And Spencer was like, more like grandma who's died and eaten by her cats and it's been a few days. That's dark.
Yeah.
And I just loved how, it kind of felt almost like an A's lair like we've seen, not as extreme as Mona's lair or some of the other ones that we've seen, but it was definitely creepy. It was more like a previous generation type of lair with the file cabinets. Everyone had their file. There was pictures. It just seemed very creepy. And I didn't know that Jessica De Laurentiis was that involved. And I was very interested to see the Jessica's lair come about. And I was very sad when, it kind of is no more now.
Yeah, we got a brief glimpse of it, and then we'll talk about this explosion in a second, but I want to talk about the missing files for a minute, and that Arya and Noel, I believe it was, both of their files were missing, and we see them later on burn, essentially. Burn up. Why were theirs taken, do you think?
Specific. Ooh.
I feel like it could be Noel taking them. He wants his file so he can get rid of it. And then maybe Arya's because he has a soft spot in his heart for her still. Because wasn't there a romance going on a little bit?
I hope that's long over.
I mean,
there's only so many
It's been a couple of years, guys.
or almost relationships I can deal with happening with Arya.
Yeah.
I was gonna say though, I feel like a high school relationship, those are sometimes things that people do cling on to.
Yeah.
I mean, just in reality, people are like, oh, it's my first love, or it's, that was my high school love, and he may have a soft spot for her.
Yeah.
And that would be interesting. We have talked about that A is often not as hard on Arya as the other girls.
Yeah, no, I agree. Completely.
She definitely gets, I wouldn't say it's not easy for her, but easier maybe.
Yeah. I wonder what that's all about because, not a long time ago, but there was some talk that Arya was somehow involved a long time ago. A lot of people thought she was A. And I thought that would have been a really cool way to take it, just because every time there's ever a problem, it seems like Arya always is conveniently, she shows up or she's here or there. I think it would be really cool if they kind of took a spin on that and made her somehow involved. But at this point, I really don't think she is, because she seems pretty oblivious about a lot of things. So I don't know, maybe they just really like her, or maybe, you know, if Noel had a past relationship, I mean, speaking from previous experience, you know, I still have a soft spot for the girl that I had dated in high school, so I don't know, I could see it.
Yeah, totally.
Worrying me now, because I feel like maybe Ezra's still involved. In that case.
That would be heartbreaking.
That would be crazy.
You know I love Arya and Ezra.
My heart would be destroyed. I mean, it's already destroyed because of Spencer and Toby.
I know. We'll get to all this relation. I have so much on these relationships. I know. I was like freaking out as I was watching. But I want to finish up this Jessica's lair and figure out. So we kind of talked about that, but then it explodes because the girls see this countdown and the creepiest thing ever.
Yeah.
What was that about? Do we think that was Noel too?
I think they saw too much. Definitely.
I could see it being Noel, but then again, because of the ICU, I could see it being Jenna as well. So I don't know what it is, but they want them to stay the heck out of that lair.
Yeah,
or the cellar.
And they made it impossible for them to go back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think it's definitely Noel, just because of the whole season 1 thing and the ICU in season 1.
Yeah, and for those who don't remember, it was that Noel saw Arya and Ezra, I believe it was kissing, and then he wrote it on the back of Ezra's car, which was like a big iconic moment in, I don't believe it was the pilot. It was early season 1, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, very early season.
Very early season 1, and I love that it's been a lot of seasons since then, but the fact that we did get that callback, I was so excited about that. It was just like an iconic moment. When I think of Pretty Little Liars, that's one of the big iconic moments, you know, because that was one of the first times that we really, you know, like A or whoever we thought was A was very close, but didn't give them any harm, just told them like, hey, I'm in your vicinity here, like, watch out. Like, that was a creepy moment.
It was also, I think, one of the first times we saw like a true note from A, and there's been so many of them since, and they've gotten obviously much more complex over time, but that was one of the first A notes, I feel like.
Yeah.
Or what we thought were A notes.
I feel like this theory is probably going to be completely wrong, but Wes loves BTR on the chat, pointing out that Cece hooked up with Noel's brother, Eric Kahn, back. What season was that? Forgot. Completely, like, season 3-ish, season 3 or 4, I think.
Yeah.
But now I'm thinking, what if Noel's brother is at the top of the chain?
That would be such a throwback.
That'd be so, that would be an insane throwback. Speaking
That would.
of throwbacks to old Pretty Little Liars.
There's so many people that it could be, and there's so many people it could not be, and I think we just think it's everyone. Like, at this point, I really think it could be anyone.
When I first started doing this AfterBuzz show, we had somebody, a great fan, who made a huge chart of how everyone fits together, and I'll have to see if I can find it on my Twitter. We retweeted it, and it was amazing. And it is, like, I start to, at the time we were like, these are not suspects, these are, and now I feel like anyone in that chart could have been a suspect. It's interesting.
Even the girls at this point.
Yeah, I mean, that would be I think the most surprising, is to have it be, and I'm not going to spoil Gossip Girl for you all, but to have it be a Gossip Girl thing where it's like somebody you've seen every week and how they did it.
That would be so cool.
If it is, then I definitely think it's Spencer. If it's someone who we see every week.
That would be crazy.
Well, she is the most organized out of the bunch, and like kind of has that not awful brain like that, but I mean organized in order to make this all happen. I don't know. It's an interesting thought.
Very
I could also see Spencer being Mary Drake's biological daughter as well.
I don't know, because I mean, I feel like the Hastings, I feel like people would have known if the mother was pregnant or not. Like, I feel like they would have seen. I don't think that Spencer would have just came out of nowhere, you know?
What if Jessica covered up everything that happened?
It's true. At this point, it could be seriously anything.
No, it really could.
Yeah.
I feel like you really could predict almost anything at this point, and it's a real possibility. But let's talk about our relationship report card. I know we haven't done one in a couple weeks, but there's so much relationship drama and changes and all sorts of things happening on this episode. So let's talk about my favorite couple first, Arya and Ezra. We ended on such a high note last week with them.
Kind of like middle note.
Yeah.
I feel like.
It's not terrible, but it's not great anymore.
It's not good. It's not good, guys. And I really have a bad feeling that they are not going to go to Tuscany tomorrow or whatever for their elopement.
No, because, I mean, AD is involved in their life, so.
Yeah, I mean, they're not going, at least immediately in the foreseeable future, to have this, like, happily ever after, it looks like.
Yeah.
Because we kind of saw them, Ezra is freaking out over wedding planning, which I thought was really funny, and then he decides, like, we need to elope, which is not an Arya move, by the way.
No.
Like, she wants the beautiful, like, full experience with all her friends, and I was like, oh, that's a bad suggestion, buddy, but all right, going for it.
Yeah, I'm like, I like y'all. I want you to get married, but not like that.
Yeah.
I want the big, beautiful wedding as a longtime Ezra fan.
Yeah, exactly. And they've teased a big romantic wedding this season, and I feel like, along with everyone else, I really wanted it to be Arya and Ezra. But I don't know that it will be, because they decide to go to Tuscany, and then they're like, almost out the door in Pretty Little Liars fashion, and then the FBI shows up and says Nicole may be alive, which is something that we've thought could be a real possibility for a while. But what did you think?
I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I hate to say this, but I'm like, I was really hoping she was dead. Like, I was hoping she could stay dead, you know, let Ezra and Arya have their time, you know, let them go out and get eloped. But no, Nicole has to run it for them.
Just horrid timing.
Come on, Nicole.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they've never said she was, like, officially dead. It was always missing on the show previously. So, do you think that Ezra assumed she was dead, or do you think did you think he ever thought he would see her again? Because that's where this is going. Like, she's coming back.
She's coming back.
No.
Ezra's gonna meet with her. She's gonna be like all over him, and then he's gonna have to explain how he's engaged, not even in a relationship, but engaged now.
Yeah.
And that's gonna make a lot of waves. And I don't know. I feel like he could develop feelings again for her and maybe call off the engagement.
Oh, so frustrating.
I don't think he'll develop, like, since he's back with Arya right now, I don't think he'll develop, like, full-on feelings for Nicole again. I think if she is alive, then he'll be happy, like, she's alive and not dead. Yeah. Because that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, obviously, like, you want your loved ones to be safe. Like, clearly he doesn't want her dead. I would never assume that. But I think he's moved on with his life.
Definitely.
And it's kind of like someone, you have to figure out how she's going to fit into your life in a new way. And I think that ultimately what we've seen in the past with him is that he's not very good at that. Yeah. When past loves, his brother comes to town, all these things affect him, and right or wrong, they affect him greatly. And so it's going to be interesting to see if he kind of calls it off with Arya, if he slows down. I could see them, like, postponing the wedding plans, like, all of that. I think elopement is not happening.
No, not a good idea either. But hey,
what can you do? I feel like
going better than some relationships.
I feel like it could be called off, but then it might maybe not even called off. Maybe just postponed, and maybe at the end of this, the series, really, at the end of the season, they might be the big wedding. Maybe he'll be like, you know what, Arya, let's do it. Let's have this big wedding. You know, I've made you postpone everything. I'm going to give you everything you want and more. And then they could have this beautiful wedding, and all the girls would be there, and it could be everything that we as fans hope to see from the wedding.
Nothing would thrill me more than that.
Really?
Yeah, I want them to have that big wedding. Like, that would be amazing. Yeah. But they have a lot of secrets to work through. It's not just Nicole. Arya, when she meets up with Jason, they tease some sort of
a secret maybe coming out.
Yeah, like romantic history. When we were together, I wasn't sure exactly what it was alluding to, but yeah.
I think back in the earlier seasons when they were kind of like
flirting. They were flirting.
Yeah,
he was kind of almost a little stalkerish with Arya.
Yeah,
and then we have
in the in the room.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Room.
The photo room, and then we have, you know, the kiss between them. Like, I could definitely...
Okay, so it's just those things. You don't think there was, like, a moment we missed in that 5-year?
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Otherwise, I
Okay,
think we
that's
would
fair.
see a flashback to it, probably.
We probably would have. But, you know, maybe you're right, and maybe we will see a flashback. Maybe there is more to the story, because they did say our little secret, like, I haven't told anyone, and he's like, let's keep it our little secret. So maybe you're right. Maybe there is more there that we don't know yet. But as far as right now, I thought it was just alluding to the past.
Okay, that's totally fair. I just wasn't sure if there was something we weren't privy to yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be
I
interesting.
mean, maybe.
Yeah.
You never know
I
with
wasn't
the
even
show.
thinking that, but now it makes me nervous. I'm like, oh no, like,
Yeah.
what can it
Like,
be?
no more secrets.
I was gonna say that relationship is filled with so many, and I would just want it to be like on the up and up and happy and good, and it's taking longer to get there.
And they're so awkward, too.
Yeah, no,
They're ridiculously awkward.
Another awkward relationship. Can we talk about that love triangle of Spencer and Toby and Yvonne?
I feel so bad for Spencer. She's gone through entirely too much heartbreak this season, and I want it to end. I've seen Jordan have scenes where she's in tears more than anyone else on the show.
I feel very connected to the Spoby relationship just because that's the one that I mean, you seem like Ezria is your ship.
Yes.
Mine is Spoby.
Yeah.
But I am pretty partial to Yvonne, and I love Kara Royster as an actress, and I don't want her to be off the show because, you know, if Toby gets back with Spencer, then her character might not be in it as much. Yeah. And since I love her so much, I want her to stick around. So I'm caught between like a rock and a hard place.
You're like reality versus like storyline.
Yes,
that's where you're stuck in. Totally.
Because I'm like, oh, I love her as an addition. But then I'm like, oh, I miss Spoby. But then I like, you know, this relationship too. But obviously Spoby is in game and something that I've been rooting for ever since season 1. So it's very hard.
Well, there was that scene tonight that made you think Spoby was going to happen. Like, so much. Yeah. It was so interesting to have him come in and be like, you know, I have to tell you this. And it was like, I built the house for you.
I died.
Which is like the most romantic thing someone could ever do. Just lovely and amazing. Mm-hmm. And then to have it followed up with
went downhill.
Yeah. But then I'm moving to Maine and okay, can we talk about starting a family?
Oh, not even, hey, we're going to move to Maine. It's like, we're going to start a family.
Yeah.
I was thinking he was going to tell her, hey, look, she's pregnant.
Yes.
Oh, no, I was thinking that too. I was like, is there another secret we're hiding from her? Like, is she pregnant or something?
Well, starting a family made me think, like, potentially.
Yeah.
Like, he didn't, like, outright say, oh, she's pregnant, but, like...
Maybe they're trying or thinking about trying in the near future. I think it would be insane if, like, she got pregnant and then Toby decided he wanted to be with Spencer, and then at the very end, she's like, hey, I'm pregnant, and then that would be another big scenario that I could see them putting us through.
What I kind of hope happens is that if she is pregnant, then she finds out, like, it's with someone else's child instead of Toby's.
That would be interesting.
Ooh.
Like, if she was involved.
If she was having another affair at the same time as she was dating Toby to kind of mess up that relationship.
Wow. That would be a real twist.
That would.
Yeah, I feel like she seems so into Toby and, like, into their relationship. That would be a real surprise to me.
Do you think she's pretty innocent at this point? Do you think that Yvonne is pretty innocent?
I don't see her as being, like, I could see her messing up, like, an election, like, being involved with her mom's campaign and messing up in that capacity. I can't imagine her being, like, in the A stuff in AD.
That would be a big twist where I feel like no one really thinks that, but if that happened, I would be like, what?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That would be just, like, jaw-dropping and crazy.
Yeah.
I kind of, the love triangle, though, in this is interesting, because I don't think Toby is fully done with Spencer. Like, by telling her that, he was, like, the door was always slightly, like, ajar on that relationship, but now he, like, pushed the door open, and you see her losing it again. The tears, she is...
I not gonna lie, I definitely cried during that scene tonight.
It's just one of those things where I feel like he's definitely not done with Spencer, but just from his little monologue, I don't think he's done with Yvonne either.
No, I don't think he
like
is.
for him being like, hey, like I really like her and I'm gonna definitely move to Maine with her and start a family. For him to say that, he definitely has very strong feelings for her. And then she said something, and then he said, oh well, nothing's ever perfect. And that moment like stabbed me in the heart.
Yeah.
And then took the dagger and just twisted it a little bit because I was
All I'm saying is that if Spoby does come back and is in game, I want their first like real date again to be like a Scrabble date.
Oh, that would be cute.
That just makes my heart happy.
Yeah,
Flashback to season 1 and 2.
I just feel like, yeah, they're kind of, I keep saying full circle, but it's like they really are kind of bringing it back and kind of tearing it back down to what it was in season 1 or 2. And I think that's a really cool place to be when you're 7 seasons in, to be able to do that to your show. It's exciting.
And have the fans, as you mentioned before, who've been here for season 1, like recognize all the parallels.
Yeah. I love the parallels. I love them.
Yeah.
If Spoby doesn't have a chance of coming back, I think that Alex should come back to the show.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's an interesting thought. I like that.
Yeah.
And then, speaking of season 1, Caleb and Hannah have that. Yeah.
I love them.
I love that Hannah's finally telling people that Jordan is no longer, like her engagement to Jordan is ended. And you see them kind of have this moment of, I feel like she really wants him back.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think they're meant to be. I think they're those high school sweethearts. They're meant to be.
I think it was crazy how last week Spencer was just like, you know what? We're done, Caleb. And then she goes right to the park with Hannah and is like, hey, you should tell him that you're not with Jordan anymore and see if things will work out. And I'm like, what? Like, this is not how things work in real life. Like, even if you just break up with someone, you're not going to go to the person that they were with for years and years and be like, hey, you should try it out again. I just fresh off the boat with that one.
I thought it was cute, though, that they had that conversation in, like, the park that's kind of Caleb's park on the swing set.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting that they're kind of handling that whole thing with the female friendship between Hannah and Spencer in an interesting way, because it doesn't feel always, some moments feel very realistic in how I would imagine that scenario would go down, and then in other ways I'm like, oh, this is Pretty Little Liars and I have to accept it, but like it just, in my life, the way I would treat a friend, it just would never happen that way. You would never be like, oh my gosh, you love him still, go, like we just broke up. Like, it would just never happen that way.
Maybe we're just very selfish people.
Maybe. I don't know. It's a good thought.
I'm okay with that, though.
I'm okay with, you know what, protecting your own feelings a little bit, at least.
Yeah,
just a little.
Just a little.
Just a little.
Not gonna lie, I'm not too. Well, like, I am sad for Spencer that she lost Caleb now, but I'm pushing for the Halo relationship.
Yeah.
Game.
It'll be, I feel like everybody wants these original relationships ultimately in the end, which I think brings us to news and gossip.
Yes.
AFTERBUZZ TV News.
So, speaking of the end of Pretty Little Liars, which makes me so sad to think about.
I don't want it to end, but, like, I feel like it is time.
I know, it's because season 7, like, we've been through a lot on this show, and we're talking about, they are starting to tie up those loose ends, at least for me. And so Tammin, who plays Jenna Marshall, was talking to People magazine this week about the end of the series, and she says the series will last as fans know. I'm sorry, my Siri is just coming up. And then let's see. So then she says the show will not look like this anymore at the end of season 7. So whatever that means, we aren't sure. No one's sure. That might be a movie. There might be a spin-off. Ooh. They might continue. But right now we know, as we know the show, it is the end as we know it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'd be down for a movie.
So, for real? Like, there could be either maybe a movie, a spin-off. That would be incredible.
Yeah, so we've talked about the possibility of a spin-off before, and I feel like you have to have one of the original girls
You'd have to.
In that spin-off. And I think Allison is probably a likely option.
Yeah.
I feel like either her or Lucy Hale.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that would be a really interesting. I hope that there's a new twist on it, though. Maybe moving to a new town or some new aspect to it. I don't want it to just continue to be A.
Yeah.
But a movie on the flip side, I want like one big like A fest in a movie.
Totally down for a movie. A movie sounds better to me, honestly, because I feel like a spin-off would be like Ravenswood 2.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I've always meant to get around to watching the Ravenswood.
I did the Ravenswood after show here, and it just like it's a great show, but I think that you would have to look at. I think there's a special kind of, I don't know, feeling mood to Pretty Little Liars that it didn't quite capture, unfortunately.
Okay.
And so it would be good to, if they can do that in a spin-off and have it still have this feeling of Pretty Little Liars. Yeah,
feeling, yeah.
I agree. I think it would be good.
It could be called Pretty Little Alley.
Oh my gosh. You should be a writer for PLL.
I think we have the new PLL writer. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I would be really excited to see what that show looks like if they were to do a spin-off or a movie. They've done it with like Sex and the City and all these like shows that have had these kind of fan bases.
Yeah.
So I could see a movie being really successful for them.
I love that they've alluded to the fact that there might be something more.
Yeah.
Because I need that kind of hope in my life, and I need that to keep me going a little bit, to be like, you know what, there's a possibility that there could be something else. You know, that would make my entire day. Like, it really would.
I agree, because I can't imagine, I've been so invested, I don't know about all our fans out there, but Tuesday nights are Pretty Little Liars night.
Oh, yeah.
In my mind.
Definitely.
And so,
well, it used to be Monday, but yeah, now it's Tuesday.
yes, in my mind, Tuesdays now, but like you're right,
Yes.
Mondays too. And I just feel like it would be so weird to like not have that anymore. It'll be like a missing thing. So I hope they come up with a way of continuing this story.
Tuesday night.
And also, there are so many loose ends that I want tied up, and I feel like even though we're still in season 7A, there's still so much more to go.
There's so many more possibilities.
Yeah.
Oh, I just want it to keep going and going. Like, I just want it to literally last for the rest of my life.
You're
Never end.
You're
Never.
like, I want this to be just like here, available to me
Yeah.
at any given time. Cool.
Right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. I 100% agree. Let's do some predictions. I know we've done a few already, but
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
ooh. Do you guys have any big ones? I'm still thinking of.
I definitely think I'm going to stick with the whole Jenna thing. Like, I'm pretty sure she's not blind. I feel like she is kind of maybe, obviously not AD, but I feel like she's definitely involved in not just in Rosewood to make up with Toby.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick with Noel Khan possibly being AD, and if he is AD, then I would say he's for sure the other child. But even if he's not AD, I think he could still be the other child that Mary Drake had.
Yeah, I think that in terms of Ezra and Arya, that the return of Nicole, and I think we're going to get more than FBI like saying she might be alive. I think we're going to see that character here in the next
That'd be interesting.
3 to 4 episodes. And I'm interested, one, to see who this girl is, who he was obviously had serious feelings for her.
He fell in love with.
Yeah, exactly. Is she just like Arya? Is she a totally different type of person? Like, what is it? And the effect that it has on on Arya. Because I think even if he doesn't end things with her, she may end things with him. I think that it's it's going a not great direction.
And also, people in the chat are saying Lindsay was on set with Shay.
Lindsay
couple
Shaw?
weeks ago. Lindsay, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Which I did see a picture of, so she's probably coming back. in a few
Paige.
episodes.
Wow.
Wow, I like it. That's
Interesting.
exciting.
Yep.
I'm kind of glad. I've always liked Paige, and I know a lot of people have their mixed opinions about her, but I felt like she added a great aspect to the show.
No, I think so too, and I have a tough time deciding between Emily's relationship and who she should be with.
Yeah.
But I didn't mind her with Paige at all, to be honest.
I agree with you. I don't know who her, like, end game relationship is yet. I haven't figured that out, at least for myself. Again, if you have an opinion, let me know. But I do want her to be happy and find that.
Yeah.
And I feel like we talked about it on the show before, a little underutilized this season. So having her be in a relationship again might bring her more to the forefront.
Yeah.
Which would be great.
Poor Emily. All her girlfriends get killed, to be honest.
That's so sad. I mean,
Sarah even was.
I know.
She was dating for a while.
I feel like they say that Emerson is in game.
Yeah.
So we'll see. They still have to make that up a little bit because it hasn't really been there in a while. You know, Allie's got her own things going on. Emily has her own things. We saw like a cute moment a while back, but they really have to start getting that storyline to develop a little bit more if that's what's going to happen by the end of the season.
I agree with you. I think that there's there's little moments between them, but we haven't had that vast thing of Ari and Ezra or Caleb and Hannah. There's so many moments, and I want more moments for them.
Yeah.
I want all the moments, guys.
Just everything. All of the moments, all of it, all the time.
Right now.
I just want Caleb moments, to be completely honest.
I love that our panel has real couple ships going on all night. I'm loving it. And Kristen will be back with us next week as well.
Awesome.
So definitely tune in then. And thank you so much for watching and hanging out with us tonight. You can find AfterBuzz on Twitter at AfterBuzz TV, and you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Stephanie Wenger.
Hi, guys. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube at Mr. Dakota T. Jones.
Hi, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca B Talks TV.
See you all next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Seriously, I have one of
Flying chairs.
I'm like an Ashley Tyler.
As long as I don't break the TV, we're good, right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, no, yeah.
No, that's really